What's up, y'all? We back. Konami just dropped some new Goblin sauce. Badass Goblin bikers. Oh my god! I can't wait to see what this gets translated to because this Konami Japan gets the best like cards, like the OCG, I guess, gets the best cards names. Like, why can't we have something like this? Is it not a children's game in the OCG? Like, I'm tired of those rules, like changing how we have to develop the game in the TCG. But anyway, I digress. New Goblin, level 6 Fiend monster, 2400 attack, beefy, beefy. Look at this artwork with all the goblins on it. Oh my god. I kind of wish just like for Goblin lore was like a new Goblin, but this being a combination of all the goblins, like that's cool too. All the Goblin bikers, that's cool. That's cool. And this effect, oh my god, I did read over this already, but it's still it's still insane. So you can only use each effect of 2 and 3 effects on this card once per turn. If you control no monsters, excuse me. If you control no monsters or you only control goblin monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. This is a pretty good effect. It makes so that it's not stuck in your hand, but this is not when it gets crazy. Effect 2. If this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon one level 4 or lower goblin monster from your deck. Oh my god, we have a 1-card starter. We have a in archetype 1-card starter. This is exactly what goblins needed. Like, having the goblins as they are currently are only extenders, so we have to rely on other outside cards to get to our plays. Granted, that kind of makes the decks good in a vacuum because we can access our engine from multiple other archetypes, but we don't have an N archetype 1-card starter, and now we do. This is so good. Last effect. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 card on the field, attach it to 1 Goblin Exceed monster you control. Oh my god, we have more disruption in the material now. And it's 1 card. It targets, but it's 1 card on the field, period. That is so good. That is so good. One thing I noticed about goblins is like you don't have a lot of like way. Well, you do have ways, but once again, an in archetype way of clearing things off the board, and especially clearing spell trap, because that's a lot harder to do in the strategy than monsters, because obviously monsters in archetype we got like 2 just a natural combo, but back row we don't. But another thing that's understated is this can allow, we have the ability to attach goblin cards, but we don't have the ability to attach other cards. This can come up later. I'm sorry, I'm tapping on the desk, probably distorting the microphone, but yeah, this can come up later. Next card, quick play Goblin Grand Imprisonment. So the goblins go to jail, huh? I don't know. What is this in the background? I think somebody's breaking the goblins out. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know. I guess it's kind of cool because let me not foreshadow. Let me just get to the effect. You can only use 1 and 2 card effects on this card once per turn. Quick play. Tribute 1 monster you control. Special summon 1 goblin monster from your deck, but it cannot attack this turn. We have an E-Telly. We have an E-Telly. Red alert, we have an E-Telly. And another card to search off of Doug. Oh man, this is what, second wave support? This is so good as a second wave of support. This takes, these first 2 cards take our deck from being a fringe rogue deck to legit tier 2 and above. Like it's at this point with these cards, the deck is at minimum tier 2. I don't know how some people rank rogue higher than tier 2 or whatever the case may be, and I would think that rogue would be a low tier 2, and then it's tier 1, and then S tier, so on and so forth. But yeah, this is minimum. This is a tier 2 deck at this point. E-Telly, it tributes a monster. That's annoying as a cost, but I get it. I get it. You can't. It's hard in this day and age to justify giving an archetype with there's no restrictions on this card. There's just the cost of tributing a monster. You can't just give a deck a free E-Telly in this point in the game. So I kind of get that, but it's a little annoying. But and also I'm fine with it can't attack. That is absolutely fine. Second effect: when a monster declares an attack, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Then detach any number of materials from your Goblin Exceed monsters. All monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack for each detached material until the end of the turn. As a secondary effect, this is very good. Goblins, if anybody's playing the deck, if you're listening to this and you're playing the deck, you obviously know that sometimes like we have a cap on if we're not putting out a big exceed armor guy, we have a hard time getting to beating over monsters with stats like 3k or higher, especially if they're unaffected by anything. They have these protections on them. So this combined with our other stat manipulation cards is going to really come in handy, and the fact that both effects can be activated on the same turn. You don't have to choose. That's really good, man. That's really good. Also, this banishing, it's going to come up in this card, Goblin Biker Grand Predicament. Let me ask you a question. Why are the Goblin Bikers always in trouble? Why are they in a predicament? Why are they in prison? What are they doing that's so bad? I guess their lore is kind of like them raiding people, robbing people. Maybe they're like a biker gang, I guess. So I guess it kind of falls in line. I guess whatever. Stop hating on my goblins though, man. Free the goblins. Free them till it's backwards. Goblin Biker Grand Predicament. Continuous Trap. Another continuous trap. You can only use one of the 1 or 2 effects of this card once per turn, so you can't activate both. First effect: target one goblin monster you control and one monster your opponent controls, or target one goblin monster in your graveyard and one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Banish them. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. We have essentially like a Raigeki break-ish card, just to pop a monster on the field, or a DD Crow. That's really good. The fact that it's on a trap card, I mean, I like archetypes having a trap card, but too many traps is going to be a bad thing, because then you're forced to, unless it's like really trap focused, you're forced to choose which one, maybe 2 trap cards that you play, because it's inherently going to make your deck bricky. Like, this doesn't allow you to play. But I do appreciate the fact that this card can be set, and you don't need to have a goblin monster on the field to activate it and use an effect. You can use the one in grave, and still be a disruption. But like, I don't know, it's still a trap card, so it's still like inherently like, not the greatest. But still, in a vacuum, decent card. You can send this card, effect 2, you can send this card face up card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard. Target 5 of your banished goblin monsters with different names and special summon them. Okay, so it's not spell cards, so I thought it was going to be goblin cards, but it's just monsters with different names. Wait. I just realized this. I thought it would return them to the deck or graveyard or something. You special summon them. Wow. This is return from a different dimension. Oh my god. That's so good. But like, I don't know if you can play this card. I just don't know, and it's too early to tell. But I do have a little deck list. Sorry about that. Don't mind my cats and tea. I have a little deck list that I put together really quickly just to like see the possibilities. So this is the new card. What was the name? The name was Badass Goblin Bikers. How do you forget that name? Badass Goblin Bikers. So I put this at 3. And just like shuffling it around, like three. It's a one card starter, so it's hard to say that this card should not be put into the deck at 3. But obviously, it can brick. It can brick. And you can see this card a lot, but it can brick. It can brick, man. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's a one card starter, so I think it has to be. In this list, I have Doug at 1. It can go up to multiples. Like I said, this was just a quick run through of the deck that I was just playing around with, just shuffling. Because Doug can get the new quick play. And once again, still not a one card starter that you can get with this, but you can. This is what makes goblins weird, because none of them are like extenders from hand. Well, we have obviously options, but the goblin cards work very funny. Like, so Doug is still not going to be a one card starter that we want it to be, but it has 1.5 2-card, 3-card combos that go crazy. It can facilitate that, obviously. And we got the regular old stuff here. Obviously, I know this might something that you might not have seen, but if you've seen my list, you've seen something like this, so this should not be a surprise. Goblin Biker Grand Entrance. This is still at 1. Debatable if this goes up higher. I'm also wondering, as I was shuffling around with this, testing out ratios and seeing how the deck looks, I was wondering, do we move towards a more pure list? Because like, there's a lot of hands where you get like the new level 5 goblin plus like a psychic tracker, and it's like, oh, if my level 5 gets stopped and I have a tracker for backup, it's not like the same old how we were just running all level 3s, and like it kind of makes you think that like maybe the goblins might be better as more pure version. Obviously still play the Terratop, obviously still play the Tour Guide. These can be talked about later, but these are the last things to be adjusted off the bat. Like, and I'm like, this is way too early to say that, all right, we should probably take Tour Guide out the deck. Like, that just seems ridiculous. But these, also, hold on. So these cards, the Psychic Tracker and Wielder, seems like they may be able to be reduced even down to just 1, and just play like Ogre plus the Nan, and just have that be your targets for E-Telly. Because like I said, this can conflict a lot, and it's like, it's really weird. It's like, it's almost like any other goblin card, like actual goblin card, would have been better in this scenario when I draw this plus non-engine. Like, say if I have this plus this, like, that's pretty nasty. This plus Doug is pretty nasty. This plus Grand Entrance is kind of nasty. This plus Biker Grand Bash is kind of nasty. Like, it's kind of like leaning like, maybe we should take a more pure approach. And also the imprisonment, I didn't even mention it, like this plus imprisonment, like it's just way better than having this plus a random extender. Reinforcement of the army, this I think this stays in the deck because you can use the entrance plus your Rhoda once per turn. That's nice. That's a nice little thing. And you have the option to have the first summon, or the the Insulator, or Doug, or Boomok. E-Telly, I don't think we get rid of this card ever. No, you don't. That's ridiculous. You don't get rid of E-Telly. What did I take? I took out the F-Zero package, all the F-Zero cards. I took all that out because like I tried to play a list with the new I just didn't know what else to take out at this point. Like, off the top of my head, in a vacuum, just gonna take out Autoger and make it 40. That's a good list. I think it's 9 hand traps. But yeah, I took out the brick for F-Zero. F-Zero is obviously great. We know how good F-Zero is, but this seems like it's worth a spot, and it's not as hard of a brick as the Ghost Trick card is. As I said earlier, where you can still activate it, under certain circumstances. And the pile up, I don't I don't see a world where we don't play pile up, unless we're just trying to make it ultra consistent, and then maybe, I guess, or maybe just take out the armored line. I was thinking like, what, just mulling over some ideas, like what if we move away from the armored line, but armored line seems to just flow so naturally into the deck that it's kind of worth having the bricks, and it makes, in this Armored Exceed just makes your offensive plays that much better. And once again, like the attack boost, like this we kind of need this, man. I mean, I guess you don't need it per se. Need is a strong word. We don't necessarily need it, but it just makes it so much easier. And especially since you can use the Dark Knight as an offensive weapon and not have to, only be able to have access to that effect on your opponent's turn. Yeah, man, this is just the rough idea, and like I moved away from the F-Zero package, as I said. Replaced that with I put number 3 back in the deck. We put in the turtle. I put in the break sword. Still the 2 Gabanga, Ashura Knight, the armored line. Put in Lars. This has so many applications. I don't want to make this video 30 minutes. Like, I have a habit of making my videos 30 minutes long, and I'm just rambling. But yeah, the manipulation, like, this makes so much easier access. I didn't even get a chance to talk about this. Oh my god, this makes me so excited because the deck gets so much more versatile. This is what we were missing to go with Bash. That's why Bash didn't seem that great. But with this card, we can get the 6s. We can make it 6, or we can combine them, making 9s, and now we have 9 access in our deck. Pretty consistently, actually. And what I put in was the Phantom Fortress Interblafnir. I hope I'm saying that right. Please don't make fun of me. Sacred Tree Beast, Hyperton. Please don't make fun of me. Please spare me. But yeah, so we have access to these cards, and these seems like the best. So also another thing, we can play around Droll in some aspects. We can play around Nib so much better because we can make this, summon this, get Doug, get Grand Bash, make them 9, go into this, and then we have our Insulator for Nib. Oh my god. And then if it detaches, it can pop a card, and this card this card replaces F-Zero. What you're going to do, this allows itself to attach materials of different types from the grave to negate more things. It's like it's an omni-negate. This is a really good card, especially in Goblins, because it allows it to load up on materials that we can use for our Goblin bikers, and feed off of that. It's just so good. This is so good for the deck. This is just if you need a little offensive weapon to clear a board, take a card out of the opponent's hand, banish a card from graveyard. Super utility. Easier access to Lars. If you weren't playing Lars before, you're going to play Lars now. 100%. Maybe another Zeus, honestly. Yeah, this is my rough draft of the new Goblin deck. We probably got another year before we get these cards, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited. The cards are good. I love the new support. Yeah, that's all I have. If you guys have any suggestions, any things that you've noticed that I didn't point out in this video, leave them in the comments, man. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Peace.